So in this video, we're going to be talking about distributing. Now, distribution problems, we see a couple of examples here, and you notice that both of them, they have a number out front, and then we have a set of parentheses, and then we have a expression with two terms in it. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. What happens when we have a number, and we're multiplying it by an expression like this. So this is what's actually called a binomial. And they call it distributing because what we're going to do is we're going to take the number in front and we're going to multiply it to every term inside the parentheses. So if you look at the first one, we're going to take that number out front 2 and we're going to multiply it to the x and to the 2. So 2 times x, whenever you have a number and a variable, just write them together. It's just going to be a 2x. I can't combine those any way, so we're just going to write them together. 2x, that means just 2 times x. But 2 times 2 will give me a 4. So 2x plus 4. So the next one here, distribute the number in front, the 4 through. So 4 times the b gives me 4b. 4 times 3 gives me 12. So all we're doing is taking that number in front, multiplying it to the first term inside the parentheses and the second. So just a few more examples, going through them pretty quickly. So distributing the 6 times x gives me 6x. 6 times 2 gives me 12. Next one here, 5 times c, well, 5c. And 5 times 5 will give me 25. Next one here, 8 times y, 8y. Number and a variable, can't combine. 8 times 2, 16. 7 times the x will give me 7x. 7 times 6 will give me 42. Okay, not too challenging. Just take the number and distribute it to both pieces inside the parentheses. So these ones look a little different. Here they don't have the variable in front, but it works the same way. 2 times 4 and times the x. So this will give me 8 plus 2x. This one, distribute the 3, will give me 24 plus 3c. This one here will give me 6 plus 2 times x will give me 2x. And here are my answers. We won't worry about standard form quite yet. We can just leave them like that. So what happens when I have a negative number? Okay, so it still works the same way. We have the number in front. We have the first term, but we're going to treat the negative or the minus sign. We're going to treat that as sort of like a negative sign. And we're going to not just look at a 5, but treat that like a negative 5. So 2 times the x will give me 2x. And 2 times the negative 5, just throw the minus sign with a 5, it's like a negative 5, will give me a negative 10. So 2x minus 10. Distributing the 3 through here, we have a 3x, and treat that minus sign with the 7. So 3 times a negative 7 will give me a negative 21. Distributing the 2 times x will give me 2x. 2 times negative 9 will give me a negative 18. So we're going to work some problems where we have negatives out front and some negatives maybe with a variable or with a number. So let's take a look at the first one. We have a negative 5. So we're going to actually take the negative with the 5. Don't think of that as a minus 5. It is a negative 5. We're going to take that negative 5 and multiply it to the x and to the negative 5. So negative 5 times x, well, that's just negative 5x. And then negative 5 times negative 5 will give me a positive 25. Okay. Remember for this, treat that like a negative 5. Next one, negative 2 times a negative x, and then negative 2 times 2. So even when you have a number and a variable, when you're multiplying two negatives together, it'll make it positive. So negative 2 times a negative x will give me a positive 2x. So the negatives will multiply together and two negatives will give you a positive. Then negative 2 times 2 will give you a negative 4. So 2x minus 4. Distributing the negative 3 to the negative 2 and the x, negative 3, negative 2 will give me a positive 6. And then negative 3 times x will give me a minus 3x. Distributing the negative 4 through in the last one, negative 4 times c and times a negative 4 will give me negative 4c. And then negative 4 times negative 4 will give me a positive 16. So it works the same way, just remember your rules for the negatives. So here are some problems that look a little different. They have an x squared in them. Some may have an x squared and an x in them. Still works the same way. So the number in front, we are going to distribute through. So 5 times an x squared will give me 5x squared. And 5 times 3 will give me 15. So whether it be an x squared or an x, still kind of works the same way, just kind of put together the number in that variable. So the next one, negative 3 times the x squared and the negative 4, distributing that through. That'll give me a negative 3x squared and then a plus 12. Negative 3 times a negative 4. Distributing the negative 4 through, that's going to give me a negative 4x squared minus a 4x. Distributing the 2 through, so 2x squared minus 2x. So here are some problems where we're going to be distributing with combining like terms, kind of what we talked about in a previous video. So when we encounter a problem like this and we need to simplify it, what we're first going to do is distribute. So you notice how we have the number and the set of parentheses. Let's distribute that number out front through. So for this one, we have 5 times the x and times the negative 4. That's going to give me a 5x minus 20. Okay. So this becomes this, but I still have that plus 3 on the end. So we have to ask ourselves, what can we combine here? If you look at the 5x, there's no other x terms, but I can combine those numbers together. So negative 20 plus 3 will give me a negative 17. So my final answer will be 5x minus 17. For the next, let's also distribute first. 6c plus 24. And then we still have that minus 2 on the end. I can combine those numbers together. So my final answer will be a 6c plus 22. For the third one, distribute the negative 2 through. I have a negative 2x minus 8, and then plus an x on the end. So this one's a little different. I can combine the x's together. So a negative 2x plus an x, or plus a 1x, will give me, when you combine the numbers in front, a negative 1, or just a negative x minus 8. So just throw that minus 8 on the end. Next one here, distribute the 4 through. We have 4x squared plus 4x. And then on the end we have the 3x squared. What can I combine together? I can combine the x squareds. So I'm going to have a 7x squared. And just throw that 4x on the end.